One, two, one, two. One, two, one, two, one, two, one, two. You got it in the camera? One, two. You can hear that? Right. One, two, one, two, one, two. Coming in this one. One, two.
4.
1, 2 at this one. 1, 2 at this one.
For the state.
Dan Weiler for the state.
Good morning, Dan Herbert.
All right, who did that? All right, listen. All right, stand up. Who are you?
Roseanne Tejas, CBS.
All right. Are you good right now? If this happens again, you're out. All right? Okay.
Randy Luger on the investigations, Dan Dyke.
All right, everybody identify themselves. Thank you. All right. Some of the things. The first, yeah, anything that comes in your head, please let us know. Okay. Oh, shame on you. All right. You're not in the barrel, okay? The first thing I want to do is I'm going to bring the jury out, and then I'm going to ask them whether anybody has talked to them or they have talked, like I told them. All right. Will everybody please be seated? Who's that first individual in this, the front row on the right-hand side? Okay, good. Okay, sure. All right. Yeah, I know. All right, bring the jury out.
All right, for the jury.
Did you read the thing? Did you give the, all right, don't bring, yeah, give it right now. All right, good.
If you want to talk, you need to step outside. Do not approach Mr. Jason Van Dyke for any reason whatsoever. Pursuant to Supreme Court rule on media coverage and Procedural Courtroom order, only Antonio Perez is allowed to take still photography in the courtroom. Absolutely no cell phone usage is allowed by anyone or any attorney unless you are here on the Jason Van Dyke case or with the media. In the interest of justice for the safety of individuals attending the proceedings of this case today, and to preserve the dignity of the court and the integrity of the proceedings, the court orders the following. No cameras, video recorders, laptops or other computers, cellular phones, personal digital assistants, or any other manual or electronic device capable of recording video, audio, or still images, or any device capable of recording video or audio representation or actual image or sound shall be permitted in the courtroom. With the exception of the credentialed media personnel, this can change without notice. 2, no bags, packages, briefcases, large coats, purses, pocketbooks, boxes, or any other container shall be brought into the trial courtroom. Attorneys involved in the Jason Van Dyke case and credentialed media personnel may be exempt from this rule. Number 3, no prejudicial or inflammatory logos, insignia, or paraphernalia of any kind shall be worn on any person or clothing while in the courtroom or on the 5th floor of the courthouse. 4, anyone failing to occupy his or her seat in the courtroom by at least 15 minutes before court is scheduled may forfeit the seat for the duration of the day's proceedings. 5, no member of the media or public shall be permitted beyond the railing separating the court gallery from the litigation area. 6, all members of the media shall display official trial media credentials at all times while in the courtroom. 7, no media or public observers shall be permitted to enter the courtroom while court is in session. Entry shall be only before court convenes and during announced breaks in the proceedings. 8, no interview shall be allowed in the trial courtroom or on the 5th floor of the courthouse at any time. 9, no disruptions, interferences, outbursts, public demonstration, loud or intrusive noises, or distractions shall be permitted in the trial courtroom or the 5th floor of the courthouse at any time. Anyone who does not comply with this condition will be immediately removed from the courtroom or the 5th floor of the courthouse and may forfeit access for the duration of the case. 10, anyone who does not comply with the conditions of this order may forfeit access to the courtroom for the duration of the case. Violation of this order may result in the violator being held in contempt of court and or being subject to monetary sanctions pursuant to Illinois civil and criminal law.
Thank you. Will everybody please be seated? Will you bring our wonderful jury out, please?
All rise for the jury.
All right, will everybody please be seated? Ladies and gentlemen, as I explained and told you yesterday, of the jury, well, first of all, good morning. It's good seeing you. All right. I'm going to ask each one of you individually whether you've talked to anybody about this case or heard anybody talking about this case in your presence. And again, if there's additional information that you want to let me know, please do that. All right. And again, I'll be referring to you by numbers. All right. Juror number 240. Could you raise your hand? Thank you. Okay. All right. Has anybody talked to you or anybody talked about this case in your presence?
Yes.
They have?
Mm-hmm.
Who?
My brother-in-law.
All right. Did you tell him to stop?
Yes.
All right. So anything he said would not influence you, is that correct?
No.
And again, I want you to look at Mr. Van Dyke. You can give him a fair trial.
Yes.
And the state, can you give them a fair trial?
Yes.
All right. Tell your brother-in-law if he talks to you again, I'm going to put him in jail.
Okay.
All right, great. Do that kindly. I don't want any family vindictiveness going, okay? That's great. Juror number 241, thank you. Has anybody talked about this case in your presence or talked to you about this case?
No.
All right. Thank you very much. Juror 242, thank you. Has anybody talked to you about this case or talked in your presence about this case?
No.
All right. So I don't be completely repetitive. If everybody understands the questions, I'll just go through the numbers then. Juror number 243, same answer?
They have not.
Thank you. Juror number 244,
No, but he's talked to me.
or in your presence?
Correct.
Thank you. Juror number 245, yes ma'am?
No one's talked to me.
Or in your presence? Thank you. Juror number 246, yes sir? Two noes. Thank you. Juror number 247. Yes. Thank you. Juror number 248. Ma'am.
No one has talked to me or in my presence.
Thank you. Juror number 249. Yes, ma'am.
No one's talked to me or my presence.
Thank you. Juror number 250.
No, no one has talked to me about presence.
Thank you. Juror number 251.
Answer is no.
Thank you. Juror number 252.
No and no.
God love you. All right. Juror number 253.
No and no.
All right. We're getting a rhythm going. All right. Juror number 254.
No, no.
All right. Juror number 255.
No, sir. Nobody.
Good. Juror number 256.
No and no.
Thank you. And juror number 257. 256 is it? Okay, good. There is no 257. Ma'am, I just want to go back to you. Again, lawyers love absolute certainty, but that doesn't exist in the world. There is nothing at all about what your brother-in-law has said that would influence you in any way. Is that correct?
Right.
And you'd only judge this case by the evidence that you heard in this courtroom, by the instructions of law that you are to follow in this case, and you would deliberate with your brother and sister jurors. Is that correct?
Right.
Thank you all. At this time, just could you take our wonderful people back to the jury room, and we'll be right out real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
All right, the jury.
Will everybody please be seated? All right, you three right there in that front row, you're so crowded you're making me uncomfortable. Could one of you move over to the other part? Okay, there you go. Thank you. All right. All right, defense, you have filed a memorandum in support of your motion for change of venue, is that correct?
Yes, Judge.
All right.
I believe this is what I argued yesterday.
All right. All right, thank you. All right. Yeah, there's a little confusion. Okay, this one was filed at 3:46 p.m. All right.
That's correct, Judge. This is just.
Oh, whoa, let's get this squared away. All right. Mr. Herbert didn't argue this or present this motion before it was filed, right? Oh, y'all know what's going on?
No, he did. This is a supplement to the.
So this is an addition to the one that he argued yesterday morning, all right? Come on, stop the confusion. You're the ones filing these things. So is this new and not been argued? All right, there'll be a recess. Think about it. All right. All right, there'll be a 5-minute recess. All right, bring our wonderful jury out, please.
All rise for the jury.
Okay, will everybody please be seated? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you've just been wonderful. Everybody's been paying attention, so keep up the outstanding work. All right, state, call your next witness, please.
Your Honor, the state calls Joseph Walsh.
Name Xavier, last name Torres. It's Xavier, Torres, Torres.
And do you work?
Yes.
What do you do?
I'm currently working for a utility company.
And how old are you?
I'm 26.
I'm going to draw your attention to October 20th of 2014. Where were you living generally at that time?
Around the area of 55th and Pulaski, south side of Chicago.
Okay. And who did you live with?
My father and my mother.
On the evening of October 20th of 2014, how were you feeling?
Just feeling kind of fluish.
Based on that, was it determined that your dad was going to take you somewhere?
Yes, we're actually going to the hospital on the north side.
Okay. And so that was a hospital that was quite a distance away to the north, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And why was it that you were going to a hospital on the north side?
Oh, we actually have a relative that works there, so I thought I'd receive better care there.
And I don't want to get into too much how you were feeling, but was the way you were feeling, did it affect your vision in any way?
No, not at all.
Did it affect your memory in any way?
No.
So who took you on this trip to get to that hospital?
My father did.
Okay. And was anyone else there?
No, it's just me and my father.
Okay. And how did you get there? What means of transportation?
We took a car over there.
Okay. And whose car was that?
It was my father's.
Okay. What kind of car?
It was a Hyundai Genesis coupe, two-door.
Who drove?
My father.
Okay. And where were you seated?
I was on the passenger.
During that trip, did you travel north on Pulaski?
Yes.
Okay, and that's from the area of about 55th?
That's correct.
Okay. During the trip, did you see any squad cars from the Chicago Police Department?
Yes, we did, a couple.
Okay. And at various points, did you have to pull over for those squad cars?
Yes.
Or your dad pulled over, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And at some point, do you get near the Dunkin' Donuts at 41st in Pulaski?
That's correct.
Okay. And what does your dad do when you're in that area?
He just pulls over.
Okay. And again, you're traveling north?
That's correct.
Okay. And he pulls, where does he pull?
He pulls over, and there's like a factory right before the Dunkin' Donuts. He pulls over a little right before that.
Okay. And so when you say right before, just south of the Dunkin' Donuts,
there's
a building?
Yes.
And so you're pulled over right in line with the building just south of the Dunkin' Donuts?
Yes.
Okay. At that time, do you see something that draws your attention?
Yeah, actually we see, it's when we saw Laquan McDonald walking down the street.
Okay, let me stop you there. At the time, did you know the name of that individual?
No, at the time I did not.
And so you later learned that that individual was named Laquan McDonald?
That's correct.
Okay. As you arrived, as you pulled over at that location, were there any police vehicles on scene?
Yes.
Could you approximate about how many?
Yeah, at least 3.
And you said that you saw Laquan McDonald walking.
Yes.
Where was he when you first saw him walking?
He was in the middle of the street. Middle of
what
Pulaski.
street was that?
It's Pulaski.
Okay. And was anything blocking your view of him?
No.
Okay. What did he do after you first saw him?
I just seen him walking southwest towards a fence.
Okay. Now, you described the fence. Where is that fence located?
The fence is located on the opposite side of the street from where we were at. We were heading northbound.
Okay. And how tall was that fence?
I'd say it's about like 6 feet.
Okay. And was there anything on the fence?
Yeah, there's like a green tarp, I believe.
So it's like a chain link fence that has a green like construction tarp over it?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, you said that Laquan McDonald was walking southwest. Was that directly in the direction of any of the police officers on scene?
No.
Could you describe how he appeared when he was walking?
Yeah, he just had like just kind of a weird walk, just walking away from the scene.
Okay. And when you say a weird walk, could you just describe it?
Just like a hop to his walk, kind of.
So it was a little bouncy?
Yeah.
At some point, do you hear gunshots?
Yes.
Okay. And where is Laquan McDonald when you hear gunshots?
It was towards, it's kind of when he was walking towards the fence.
Okay, so he was walking in the southwestern direction?
Yes.
And you hear gunshots?
Yes.
Okay. What happens after you hear gunshots?
After I hear gunshots, I just see him, just fall to the ground.
And do you know how many gunshots you heard before he fell to the ground?
I didn't know exactly how many. I just knew it was multiple.
Okay. And
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part of the answer.
Could you repeat the answer, please?
Yeah, of course. I didn't know exactly how many shots. I just knew I heard multiple.
how long after you heard the first shot before Laquan McDonald fell to the ground?
It was a brief pause. Might have been about a second or two.
Okay, so fairly quickly he falls to the ground?
Yes.
Okay. And then do you hear more shots?
Yes.
Okay. And in relation to how many shots you heard fired while he was standing, were there more or less shots fired while he was on the ground?
I'd say there's more when he was on the ground.
And during this entire time, you had an unobstructed view of Laquan McDonald?
That's correct.
While he was on his feet, did you see him make any threatening movements?
No.
After he's on the ground and you said you heard more and more shots, did you see him make any threatening movements?
No, not at all.
At any point, did you see him direct any of his movements at any of the police officers on scene?
No.
What did it appear he was doing when he was walking southwest?
It just, again, looked like he was trying to get away from all the officers.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Sure.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Cross-examination?
Morning, Mr. Torres.
Good morning.
So your father's driving you to the doctor, or the hospital, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and when you pulled over, were you the first car in line to pull over?
I don't remember exactly.
Do you remember how many cars you pulled over?
No, I don't remember exactly.
All right. Do you remember how far you were from the Dunkin' Donuts when you pulled over?
We're just a little distance, not too far.
What's a little bit?
Definitely less than a mile.
Less than a mile?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So you might have been within a mile of the Dunkin' Donuts?
Yeah.
All right. And did you see any police officers get out of the car?
Yes.
How many?
Maybe like two.
Two?
Yeah, at first.
How was that car parked when you saw it?
Parked just the same direction as our car was parked, going northbound.
Going northbound. So you saw a car with two police officers parked northbound.
Yes.
Is that before or after the shooting?
This was before the shooting.
All right. Did you see where those two police officers went to get out of the car?
No.
So there are two police officers out of a car facing north,
That's correct.
just before the shooting.
Yes.
Did you see where they went?
No.
Well,
I
was that car in your vision to where the shooting happened?
You mean obstructing my vision?
Yes.
No.
All right. Did you ever see a car come down south while you were there?
When we first had got to the scene, there was a squad car following Laquan McDonald that was heading south.
All right. And where did that car go?
I honestly didn't pay attention. I was focused on Laquan at the time.
You didn't see that car park anywhere?
No, I was paying attention to Laquan.
Okay. So when you saw Laquan, the only car you saw was the car facing north, right?
No, at first I saw the car that was coming southbound, and then I had seen the other squad car that was parked northbound.
All right, I'm sorry, but I got to try to get this straight. So the car that was parked northbound got there first?
No.
When did it get there?
Honestly, I don't remember.
You don't remember that?
No, it's been a while.
Before the shooting or after the shooting?
It was before the shooting, I know that.
All right. Was it there when the shooting happened?
Yes.
So that car would have been in your line of sight, correct?
It wasn't in my line of sight.
Well, was it? Is that car before you could see McDonald or after?
It was there before. But it's
I
on,
understand.
it's on this side of the, it's on the right side of the street.
It's on the right side of the street. You're on the right side of the street, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're within a mile of Dunkin' Donuts, true?
Yes.
And this car's parked north, right?
Mhm.
And McDonald's coming from the north, is he not?
Yeah, but he's going southwest.
I understand.
Triangle.
But I'm trying to figure out where this car is that's facing north.
To be honest, I don't remember. I just know he was on the same side of the street as we were.
But you don't know where he was in relation to where McDonald was.
No.
And you saw two police officers get out of that car.
Yes.
And was that before the shooting or after the shooting?
This was before the shooting.
And did you see where they went?
No.
All right. So then you see a car coming south, is that right?
I saw that at first. That's the first thing I saw.
Was that before you saw the car that came north?
Like I said, I don't remember exactly.
You don't remember?
It's been a while.
And you don't remember where that car that was going south, what happened to that car, right?
The car that was going south?
Yes.
No, I don't. Like I said, my focus went over to Laquan McDonald at the time.
So you didn't see that car parked?
No, I wasn't paying attention.
You didn't see anybody get out of that car that was going south?
No, I don't remember.
And you talked to the people from the FBI, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
All right. And you told them that that McDonald was moving southwest, correct?
That's correct.
And he was closer to the curb, according to you, right?
He was heading towards the curb, yeah.
Well, you told the FBI that he was closer to the curb, right?
Objection, Judge, in relation to what?
Lay the proper foundation, Mr. Ruger.
You told the FBI people that
When?
McDonald, sorry, on December 15, 2014, a couple months after this happened, you talked to the FBI, right?
Yes,
And you told them details about what you saw that night, correct?
that's correct.
And what you told them was that McDonald was moving southwest closer to the curb, correct?
I know that I just said he was moving towards the curb, so I don't remember exactly. Like, it's been a while.
Is there anything that might refresh your recollection on what you told them?
I guess what I stated at that time.
Yeah, if you saw a report of what you stated, would that refresh your recollection?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, man. May I approach you, Your Honor?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. Mr.
What are you
Torres,
marking it as?
Defense number 2, thank you.
Thank you.
Show you what's been now been marked as defense number 2 for identification, and tell you it's a 4-page report of your interview with the FBI in December 2014. I'm going to ask you to take a look at the bottom of the page here and ask you if that refreshes your recollection about what you told them was where McDonald was, his relation to the curb, which you told the FBI. Don't read it. I mean,
All right,
read
give
it.
him a chance to read it.
That's what I'm doing. I'm saying I don't want him to read it out loud.
Well, you didn't say that.
You know, again, it's been a while.
Excuse
and,
me. Wait. He'll ask you questions before you do
Just want you
anything.
to read
Mr.
it to
Torres.
yourself and ask you if that refreshes your recollection about what you told them.
I read it.
All right, does that refresh your recollection about what you told them?
No, it's been a while.
So it's been a while since December 2014, and you just don't remember what you told them, right?
That's correct.
And this incident happened in October 2014, correct?
Correct.
That's been a while too, right?
Yep.
And one of the things that you noticed about the shooting, according to you anyway, was that the person who went to the ground moved when he was on the ground, right?
Yeah, he moved.
Yeah. And you didn't see a knife in his hand, according to you, correct?
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
Thank you, Mr. Torres.
Thank you. State.
Mr. Torres, was it a more traumatic experience experiencing this or speaking with the FBI?
Objection. Sorry.
All right. Overruled. Go ahead.
I'd say both situations were, equally traumatic.
But where was your focus when you were on the scene watching Laquan McDonald be shot?
For the most part, it was on Laquan McDonald.
Okay. Was there any reason for you to keep track of where the squad cars were?
No.
You said that the Dunkin' Donuts you were within a mile of, correct?
Yes, what I believe.
And where you were parked was actually the next door neighbor, right? Right next to it?
Yes.
Overruled. It's a redirect.
That was a yes?
Yes.
So well within a mile?
Yes.
You had indicated on cross that Laquan McDonald was moving while he was on the ground. Could you describe that movement?
The movement just was slight and it looked like he was in pain.
No further questions.
Recross examination.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Torres. You can step down. State, call your next witness, please.
State will call Officer Ivanovich. The assembly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this honorable court of jury is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Thank you.
Have a seat, officer. The microphone's live. The seat is adjustable. Adjust your seat to the microphone. Speak into the microphone. Everybody will be able to hear your testimony, and it will be greatly appreciated. So thank you.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Please.
Sir, would you please state your first and last name and spell both for us?
First name is David, last name is Ivanovich, D-A-V-I-D, I-V-A-N-K-O-V-I-C-H.
What is your occupation?
I'm a Chicago police officer
How long have you been employed as a Chicago police officer?
for 11 years.
Sir, I'd like to direct your attention to October 20th, 2014, where you're working as a Chicago police officer.
Yes.
What was your shift on October 20th, 2014?
Started at 9 p.m., ended at 6 a.m. in the morning was our shift.
On October 20th, 2014, were you working with a partner?
Yes, I was.
And who was your partner?
Officer Torres.
What type of vehicle were you and Officer Torres assigned on October 20th, 2014?
I believe we were in a Chevy Tahoe marked vehicle.
And did you have a beat or vehicle number?
Our beat was 823R. The vehicle number, I don't know offhand.
So that beat 823R would identify you regarding dispatch communication, is that correct?
Yes.
While you and Officer Torres were on duty on October 20th, 2014, did you receive a call for assistance from another officer?
We heard on the radio that an officer was requesting assistance.
And you heard that through your radio dispatch communications?
Yes.
And do you recall what beat number that was who was requesting assistance?
I believe it was 815 Robert.
And were you familiar with the officers working 815 Robert on October 20th, 2014?
Yes.
And who were those officers, sir?
Officer Gaffney and Officer McElligott.
And were you aware of what they were requesting when they called for assistance?
They were requesting assistance. I believe one officer was asking for an officer with a taser.
And were you aware as to whether or not they had encountered an individual who was armed?
I believe they said that he was armed with a knife.
Now, the vehicle that you and Officer Torres were in, was that equipped with any video or audio equipment?
In-car camera video.
And how does the in-car camera video operate on your vehicle?
I believe once you activate your emergency lights, the video starts recording from a minute prior and then continues on until you shut it off.
On October 20th, 2014, when you and Officer Torres were responding to assist the other officers, was your video camera operating?
Yes.
Does your video camera indicate a date and a time?
Yes.
And was that time accurate on October 20th, 2014?
Yes.
Now, have you had occasion, Officer Ivanovich, to view the dash cam video recording from your vehicle on October 20th, 2014 regarding the death of Laquan McDonald?
Yes, I viewed it.
And if I could approach your Honor.
Sure, go ahead.
So I'm going to show you what's been marked as People's Exhibit number 225. Do you recognize what that is, sir?
Yes.
What is People's Exhibit 225?
It's a jump drive.
And what is contained on People's Exhibit 225?
Our dash cam video from our vehicle.
And you had an opportunity to view People's Exhibit 225, is that correct?
Yes.
And does People's Exhibit 225 accurately reflect your dash cam recording on October 20th, 2014 when you were responding to assist other officers?
Yes.
Did you also have an opportunity to view People's Exhibit 226 electronically?
Yes.
And People's Exhibit 226, is that a clip of your full dash camera video that is reflected in People's Exhibit number 225?
Yes, it is a clip.
Here at this time, I would move to admit People's Exhibit 225 and 226 and ask that the identification marks be stricken.
Thank you. Any objections?
Judge, just, we haven't seen what she's putting in. Maybe a description of what it is.
All right, sidebar then. I need your call. Thank you, John. All right, State, make your motion again, please.
Your Honor, we would move to admit People's 225 and 226, ask that the identification marks be stricken.
Thank you.
No objection.
All right, the identifications on people's number 225 and 226 will be stricken. They will be moved into evidence. Proceed, State.
Your Honor, at this time, we would move to publish portion of People's Exhibit 225.
Thank you. Go ahead.
You just need a moment, Judge.
Thank you.
That's on that. Officer Ivanovich, can you tell us what street you are on that's displaying currently in the video?
We were on 59th Street, and the sign just said Rockwell. Right now, we're eastbound on 59th Street.
Can you tell us what street you're traveling on at this point?
We're still on 59th Street. We just did a U-turn to go west on 59th Street.
Are you still on 59th Street, sir?
Yes, still on 59th.
And are you the passenger or the driver, sir?
I am the passenger.
Can you tell us where you're traveling at this point, sir?
We just reached 59th and Pulaski, and now we're going northbound on Pulaski.
And what specific area were you going to respond to?
I believe 42nd Pulaski area is where we were heading to.
Did you or Officer Torres have a taser?
I had a taser.
Where are you arriving now, sir?
We're arriving on the scene of the incident.
And you see an individual laying in the roadway.
Yes, that's Laquan McDonald in the roadway.
And who is that just walked across the screen, the officer?
That was my partner, Officer Torres.
And approximately how many other squad cars were on the scene when you and Officer Torres arrived?
I would say at least 6.
And who just walked back across the screen, sir?
That was my partner again, Officer Torres.
And where are you at this point, sir?
I don't know if I popped out of the car or if I stayed in the car. Actually, I'm right there.
You see yourself on the screen?
Yeah.
So you're out of the car, is
I'm
that
out of the
correct?
car, yes.
And what is going on now in the video?
My partner is rerouting, moving the vehicle to block traffic from coming into the scene.
And you remained outside back where you first had arrived, is that correct?
Right.
And what's on the screen now, is that where Officer Torres had parked the vehicle to block traffic?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. For the record, I'm stopping the video at that point.
You got to speak up.
For the record, stopping the video at 9:59.42 p.m., Judge. Now, Officer Ivanovich, you indicated initially the call for assistance was for someone with a taser, is that correct?
Yes, that was mentioned.
And how long after you received the call for assistance did you learn that shots had been fired?
Like how much time had surpassed?
Yes, sir.
I believe we were reaching 59th and Pulaski when the transmission came out that shots were fired.
And so when you pulled up, that's when you observed the person you now know as Laquan McDonald on the ground, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, you indicated that you had a taser that evening, sir?
Yes, I had a taser.
And were you trained to use a taser?
Yes, I was trained.
At that time?
Yes.
And when you use a taser, what is the goal of using a taser on an individual?
Objection, Judge.
How is that material relevant here today, State?
Judge, it goes to why he was responding for the request. He came with the equipment that the other
Well,
officers...
he's saying that he had a taser and he went to respond for the request for a taser, says why he responded. All right. The actual functioning of the taser, maybe at a later date if it has a purpose, but right now not from Officer Ivanovich. So sustain.
Very good, Judge. How long did you remain on the scene after you and Officer Torres arrived, sir?
We remained on scene until the scene was dismissed.
And what were your responsibilities when you remained on the scene with Officer Torres?
Our car remained where it was left parked, 42nd, blocking traffic.
When you arrived on the scene, were there any officers there that you knew prior to responding to the area on Pulaski Road?
Yes.
And which officers were on the scene that you knew prior to responding to Pulaski Road?
Many from our watch. I can't think of everyone offhand.
Approximately how many officers, sir, were on the scene when you arrived, if you recall?
Total, I would say there's more than 10 total on scene already.
Okay. 1 second, Judge, if I may.
Sure, take your time.
Sir, you had indicated that you were armed with a taser. Can you tell us what a taser is?
It's another weapon that we're trained to use and carry.
And when you say another weapon, how does it work?
You press the button and it releases electrical current.
Electrical currents into an individual?
If it hits an individual, yes.
Oh. Thank you. If I may, Judge, just 1 second.
Sure.
Had you used a taser prior to October 20th, 2014?
What does this tend to prove?
I'll withdraw the question, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you very much. Cross-examination.
Good afternoon, officer.
Afternoon.
How are you?
Good.
You were asked questions about your reason for driving over to 40th and Pulaski, and it was call for assistance, correct?
Correct.
And they showed you the video of your car driving to the scene, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you had your lights and sirens going at that point, correct?
Correct.
And the call for assistance, that was a hot call, correct?
Correct.
You know what I mean by a hot call?
Yes.
It's a call where a police officer is asking for help. Help, get here. And then, would you agree with me that the response is that anyone within the vicinity, police officers, goes to the scene?
Correct.
To help that officer that's calling for help?
Correct.
Nothing further.
State any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. You can step down, officer. State, could you call your next witness?
Yes, Judge. State will call Adam Murphy.
Watch your step, remain standing, face the clerk.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this honorable court and jury shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Have a seat. The chair is adjustable. The microphone's live, so if you pull your chair up to the microphone, adjust the microphone, speak into the microphone, everybody will be able to hear your testimony, and it would be greatly appreciated. So thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Would you state your full name, spell your last name for the court reporter, please?
Sure, it's Adam Murphy, M-U-R-P-H-Y.
And you're a police officer, correct?
That is correct.
Where do you work?
I work for the Cook County Sheriff's Police Department.
Is the Cook County Sheriff's Police Department a separate department from the Chicago Police Department?
Yes, it is.
How long have you been employed with the Cook County Sheriff's Department?
Approximately 10 years.
Have you ever worked for the Chicago Police Department?
No, I have not.
I want to talk to you specifically about October 20th, 2014. Do you recall that evening?
Yes, I do.
Were you working?
I was.
What shift were you working?
I was working our midnight shift. That's 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. or 7 a.m.
9 p.m. on the 20th until 7 a.m. on the 21st.
That is correct.
Okay. Were you assigned to a specific district or beat?
Yes, I was assigned to the 5th District Bridgeview Division.
And just very generally, what parts of Cook County does that Did you call it a division or a district? I'm sorry.
It's a district.
Okay. What parts of Cook County does that district cover?
It covers everything from the Will County, DuPage County border on the west, all the way to approximately Cicero on the east, and everything from, I would say, about 135th on the south to about 26th Street on the north.
And you said that you started your shift at 9 p.m. on the 20th, right?
That's correct.
At some time after you started your shift, did you notice anything unusual or anything take place involving the Chicago Police Department that evening?
Yes, I did.
What did you see?
I observed multiple Chicago police vehicles using their lights and sirens, traveling northbound on Cicero, just passing through Archer Avenue.
And you were in your own Cook County Sheriff's Deputy vehicle at that time, right?
That's correct.
And where were you when you saw these Chicago Police Department vehicles? You said traveling on Archer, correct?
Yes, I was on Archer facing eastbound, waiting at the light there.
When you saw the Chicago police units traveling past you, what did you do?
At that time, I turned left and I continued to follow them northbound on Cicero Avenue.
How come? Why'd you do that?
Seeing multiple vehicles like that, I didn't know if they needed assistance in whatever they were doing.
Did you activate your lights and sirens?
I did not know.
But you then followed the line of police cars?
That's correct.
Are you able to monitor the radio traffic of the Chicago Police Department from your Cook County Sheriff's Department vehicle?
No, we did not have the capability at that time.
Why not?
Our radio band is completely different. We use a different frequency than they do.
So the Cook County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff's Department has its own radio communication, completely separate from the Chicago Police Department.
That's correct.
Nonetheless, you saw these Chicago police officers driving lights and sirens. You then followed them.
That's correct.
Where did you follow them to?
We ultimately ended up at the right on Pulaski, just south of the highway.
And the highway being what highway?
I-55.
That's the Stevenson Expressway.
That's correct.
And you were just south of that expressway when you came to a stop.
Correct.
When you first stopped on Pulaski, were there other Chicago police vehicles already stopped at that location?
Yes, there was.
Approximately how many?
Vehicles, probably 4 or 5.
And in addition to the vehicles, or separate from the vehicles, did you also see Chicago police officers standing outside of the vehicles?
Yes.
Approximately how many?
I would say maybe 6.
What else did you see when you first pulled up to that location?
I observed the officers standing in the roadway, and then I observed a subject lying in the roadway.
Did you know who that subject lying in the roadway was at that time?
No, I did not.
Did you eventually find out?
I did.
Who did you find out that person was?
That subject was Laquan McDonald.
And when did you find that information out?
Maybe 8 months later.
Did you get out of your squad car?
Yes, I did.
What did you do when you got out of your squad car?
I approached the scene where everybody was standing and where the subject was lying on the ground.
Did you do anything?
Yes, I did.
What did you do?
At that time, I observed that the subject was gasping for air. I put on my rubber gloves and I attempted to give first aid.
Okay. You and I met in preparation for your testimony, correct?
That's correct.
And during our preparation meeting, you reviewed a portion of a dash cam video that was recovered from the Chicago Police Department, correct?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you a clip of what has previously been marked as People's Exhibit 226. I'm going to restart it. Wasn't showing on one of the monitors, if that's okay, Judge?
Absolutely, please. Thank you. Yeah, Jim.
Sir, if you would turn the lights back on, please. Officer Murphy, you're captured in this video, correct?
Yes, sir.
Would you touch the screen that's in front of you and just indicate where you are in that final frame of that video?
Right there.
Officer Murphy, give it a bigger thing.
Sure.
All right, there you go.
There you go. Thank you. What are you doing at that moment?
At that time, I'm putting on the rubber gloves.
And the rubber gloves are like, what's the purpose of the rubber gloves?
Latex gloves. Just put on regular latex from the hospital.
After you put the rubber gloves on, what did you do?
I then approached the subject to see if he needed first aid.
Did you touch the subject?
I did not.
How close to the subject is Laquan McDonald, right?
That's correct.
How close did you get to Laquan McDonald?
Not very close, probably right in the hash mark here.
Okay, thank you. When you reached that hash mark that you just indicated with that pink line, I think, what did you do?
I just kind of bent over, looked at him, advised him that I hear the ambulance and that the help was on the way.
Did Laquan say anything to you?
He did not.
Did you hear any noises coming from the body of Laquan?
He was gasping for air and gurgling.
After you said, just strike that, what did you say to Laquan when you bent over?
I told him that the ambulance was on the way and that I hear it in the distance.
And Laquan did not respond to that, correct?
No, he did not.
Did you continue to hear the gasping or the gurgling coming from the body of Laquan McDonald?
No, it stopped shortly after.
Did an ambulance arrive when you were on the scene?
I'm not sure. I don't recall.
And when you heard that last gasp or gurgling from Laquan, you then walked away?
That's correct.
Thank you, Judge. That's all I have.
Cross-examination, Mr. Herb.
Yeah, please. Okay, thanks. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. You heard the last gasp, correct? And then he stopped?
I'm not sure if it was the last one, but I didn't hear it any longer. No.
Okay. And then you walked away?
Yes, sir.
He died right there?
I can infer that, but I'm not sure.
Okay. And you said that you or you made the decision to go and follow this line of police cars, correct?
That's correct.
And you were around Archer and Cicero?
Yes, sir.
And that's a pretty significant distance from 40th and Pulaski, is it not?
It's a few blocks, yeah.
Okay. And so there was a line of cars, I believe is what you said.
There were several cars, yeah.
Okay. And these several cars were all marked SWAT cars?
Yes, sir.
And they were driving at a high rate of speed?
They were going in and out of streets, so we didn't get up to that at a high rate of speed.
Okay. Driving with the lights and sirens going, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you decided to follow because you knew that something dangerous was happening, correct?
I thought that they may have needed help.
Okay.
I'm not sure what was going on.
Well, in fact, they did need help. You found out later that somebody was calling for help, a police officer was calling for help, correct?
I found out, yeah, later.
And that's not uncommon in your job or the Chicago Police Department. When a policeman calls for help, when they have a situation that they can't control, they call for help, and it's a very serious call, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Nothing further. Thank you.
Redirect?
No, Judge.
Thank you. Officer Murphy, you can step down.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to break for lunch right now. Keep up the good work. Everybody's paying attention.
All rise for the jury.
All right, everybody back at 1 o'clock, please. Thank you.